Hey y'all, so this is one of my games. This is an average 1400. Let's see. Gotta do camera control. Hey y'all, so this is one of my games, about an average 1400. So just actually about 1450. There's a couple of 1500s in here. We got split factions on each side, two American, two Brits versus two Vermonters, two DAC, and then they're also, at least on our side, they're split American and British, American British, whereas they have DAC, and both Vermont on top. So I wanted to kind of just go over a little bit of what our strategy was at the time, and walk you through how we thought about the game. We were on chat. It was a pretty competitive game, so a lot of back and forth that I wanted to walk y'all through. And to start, they went a little mobile heavy on the bottom side. So you got the motorcycle here, you got the 250 here coming in. I went with a rifle opening, and we got the MG coming out from the bottom, and I believe there is a dingo coming in. Yeah, from the bottom as well, because we realized we're going against two DAC. There's probably going to be at least one person going mobile or light vehicles, so we wanted to go ahead and counter that a little bit. And you'll see something that I did that's a little different from my build. I will end up going very early grenades once I start seeing the build that my opponents are going for, and that's just kind of important as a US player to do, to go ahead and make grenades if you're going to have riflemen, because you don't have bazookas to help you out with those vehicles and at high pressure. So we got a quick engagement on the bottom with blue, and I'm engaging orange here. So he decided to come up, and it doesn't, he's being very aggressive with his 250. So I went ahead and just try to be a little more aggressive with my rifleman, but he's just kind of trading damage. And I think he miscooked because he probably wanted to go back, and I got my early grenade on him and went ahead and killed it. So that was a very early victory for me. And this is the kind of problem playing light vehicles or any vehicles on the bottom when you're in kind of a couple of space is really hard to maneuver around. So position wise, it favored me, and I immediately go bottom to help my teammate deal with his player, targeting the engineers mostly, because we want to make sure that if flamethrowers come out, they don't do that much damage. I don't really mind having to retreat a scout, and I keep pressing even though I have my mortar in the middle, which is kind of a little bit of a mistake on my part. I thought they were going to be more aggressive in the middle, but as you can see, both players started going more towards the top, and they ended up decapping the point. So I could have moved it on a little earlier. There's another 250 that's coming in here, and he's really they're both pressuring me here, so not the best position for my rifleman. Ended up trying to get out, so basically arrow to opposite side, got out on the opposite side, trying to get into another building because I saw him push a little further down, and then I ended up getting veterancy, so I sprinted forward, got another grenade up, and then we were able to kill it again with the dingo and the MG. So yeah, tons of damage. I got really lucky on the veterancy, and I immediately popped it and obviously got out, and this kind of secures our early game here. And the top, they're battling it out pretty heavily. I get rifle heavy from yellow. There's an early bunker here, so they're gonna look to secure this position with coastal, and they have an MG in the middle. So just trying to go a little more MG heavy and using the defenses plus the bunker bonus on these to nice smoke to apply pressure. And this is a pretty infantry map, and infantry is really good on this map. On an open map like this, you can spread out pretty nicely. It's hard for the MGs to cover all the angles, which is why you saw our team do it a little bit. But again, once you kind of get in these little clumped up positions and you have a couple of MGs, you can at least cover a position, and maybe not the whole map, but yeah, it's a little tough. But these guys are are really spreading out, and they might be able to wrap around this MG as well, but this one's gonna have to retreat. This one, it doesn't look like they have anti-tank bunkers, and they were able to get this MG, which is super important. Oh, and the arty hit from the British player wiped out effectively 2 squads, 3 squads. I mean, this position's pretty secure. Looks like they tried to do some sort of wraparound, but didn't necessarily help. And when we saw the MG come up, I immediately sent something to cap this point, just to, you know, apply more bleeding. But it looks like the arty officer came in with the Stummel, and that pretty much is the nail in the coffin for this push. So it looks like both sides have pushed out pretty heavily. Obviously, allies have some sort of advantage, but they got pushed out dark on top, so those resources will be taken. And this particular resource is kind of important for the Axis. Axis is basically expected to win this side and cover this fuel point. So you can see this is the main fuel point. It's extremely protected, so it's normal to cache it early to get advantage of that early fuel. We ended up seeing this flak come out, and I mean, so piece of advice: when you're forced, you see an early flak, which tends to happen because there's a lot of fuel that's being gathered. If you don't have AT right away and you can't contest it, just back up. Like, don't even engage. Let them have the points. This is something that I've learned pretty early when it came to fours and dealing with flaks versus DAC. The second I see it, you know, I'll let one unit tank it for a little bit, and I retreat everything else, just to make sure everything gets out and clearly free and clear. This is kind of a mistake by me. I was trying to clear out and contest the flags. I did it, and it was my rifleman dying. Shocker. Stuff happens, but yeah, it looks like there's a Humber coming out. We are full retreat bottom, and the Axis has started to take its presence known. You know, this happens with light vehicles. Great players typically go some sort of early light vehicle on the Axis side to regain map control. Flak is a version for DAC. You got the 8 rad coming out, and then also the Stummel for the Axis player, for the Warlock players. So yeah, this is the point where they should have map control with this particular build, and it's no surprise that we're on full retreat for a while. But the map is pretty big, so you can split your army. It looks like Yellow's putting a little more effort going in the mid. There's a howitzer here to start laying down some long-range fire, and howitzers are really good on this map for a variety of reasons. I mean, it can cover all of middle by itself from these little rocks right here, and you'd have to go around and flank it on either side, and usually when that happens, like, if the howitzer is placed there, it's not alone, so it's really hard to flank. And it can help cement like this cutoff position, which is also extremely important for the manpower improvement. So looks like Yellow is trying to go in. Pink, green is trying to sandwich. Anti-tank rifles. Extremely good against Stummel because it has to face forward whenever you're gonna use it. So even if you're on the side of the Stummel and you start just hitting it with the anti-tank rifle, you can be fairly safe. He's gonna have a hard time to actually hit it. We're also engaging bottom, so we found out where kind of the 8 rad and the flak, where there's a lot of anti-tank here. So one thing that we were worried about is the 2 anti-tank, the monitor and the anti-tank gun in here. But you know what I was telling my teammate at the time, and you know something we both agreed on is like, look, dude, we don't have a lot of tanks outside of your Stuart, so technically they don't have as much as we think they do. And this is a judgment call you want to make when you're in the game itself. What is your composition? So he went a little too forward with his flak, ended up getting a nice pot shot on it and getting it back. But all they have is infantry, flak, 8 rad for infantry. Like we went pretty heavy with infantry. I got a lot of riflemen, and then he got plenty of sections and an MG, and there's not really much to counter a lot of that. outside of, now he has Gustatori and he has the Panzer Grenadiers. But we thought that it was a good time that at least we could start pushing. So we did a kind of a soft push here, test the waters, see how they reacted. And we noticed that from the color, and this is like kind of a decision that they make, and something you'll see a lot in Forge, is when you win a side, you could have one of your teammates flank. And they ended up flanking really hard on top. And that was our cue. The second we saw Orange, because we knew he was on our side, go in, we knew this guy didn't have enough infantry to contest what we had. So I kind of baited him a little bit to get the with the MG in place, and I started really pressing the issue, putting my AT gun forward so the flak can't get into a position. If he does, you're gonna regret it. And ended up putting it a little more forward. So when he started going back, I was still within range. And boom, got him. So I didn't put it at the tip. I didn't mind losing this because I ended up getting the flak and I can always recruit later. And with the MG covering me, we were in a very, very good position. And we know exactly where the AT is facing, so he just went around with his Stuart, knowing the Martyr was probably not there because he was with the other army, with Orange. And yeah, we ended up taking back this position with both of us. These guys are on the back foot, but we took back the position to protect the +10 fuel. Like, that's important. There's a +10 munitions here as well, and we still had the fuel in the middle, so they never took that. And that kind of was a great equalizer. Like, the way the map should be played in a competitive game for Oasis is basically split the middle, which are these two cutoff points. So anything above this cutoff point, this top side should have. Anything below this cutoff point, this bottom side should have, in an equal game. That's how the map is played. And every time you push in and achieve any of the resources on the other side that are past those points, you kind of know you have the map and positional advantage on Oasis. So, like, this is an example of that, but looks like they kind of just settled down and wanted to just camp the cutoff point. Because they do have a couple of resource points that they still want to use. So the cutoff point is very, very important for them. And then you start seeing commandos coming out. These are DS commandos, so they switch between anti-infantry. And something that I start doing a lot more is, you can see I don't have any rangers, but I have infantry assault. Like, basically I use advanced infantry battle group just for the infantry assault. And, like, this alone is pretty good, because, like, made them arty, contesting middle, decapping VP, all for basically 100 munitions. So continue the bleed. It's basically a way to continue the bleed, and at the same time, you have the Gurkhas coming out and Green's applying a little bit of pressure, but ultimately we were able to retake this middle point, which applies a little more pressure on them, which is, it's important. You always want to be in a position where if you can take that a VP and start to bleed, you should. And there's still a few left, just taking in some fire and even forcing some of this out. But one of the things I like to do with this build is, because I don't use too many ammunitions, I only use it for, like, basically I only use it for grenades like this. So I ended up grenading this 8-rad maybe 3 times, I don't know, and applying a lot of pressure. So again, these guys went 8-rads and martyrs, pretty heavily in martyrs. So martyrs don't really do much against infantry, so this is where I have the advantage of getting a lot of veterancy points and engaging this squad right here. And I think it's a white. Yep, it was a white. So that was super important. That's a lot of units lost. This orange guy's hurting quite a bit. Usually Dak has a lot more than this at this stage of the game. So he's really suffered quite a lot. And starting to see the bishops come out. So bishops another great unit on this map. Especially when you see coastal and they're starting to put up bunkers. It's a safe bet to go with bishops just to make sure that he can't bunker up, or if he's trying to stay stationary with Nebbles, that you have something to engage with. But yeah, starting to see a little bit more of the back and forth. They ended up taking our side for a bit. We ended up taking it back. We now have both of the manpower points. Looks like we're starting to cap this right side, and we're applying the pressure. So it kind of swung the other way, and see green is really pushing the issue. You know, a lot of times when you're playing these maps, Oasis, you're gonna have big pockets of open area to work with, and you can flank, you can play aggressive. You don't have to directly engage your opponent, and this is key. You know, this is 250 manpower out of the drain, plus the 5 fuel that it helped get, and now the bombars are starting to come out, and it's a big grenade that came out here, but he did take some damage on his own. So a lot of manpower bleed. It's gonna hurt him when it comes to reinforcing, but you know, scouted out what the opponent had, and this looks like, you know, bottom is starting to push up. They ended up getting my AT gun. I didn't necessarily see that push coming. I'm engaging on the top side. Again, the bars are here, so they can take some engagements with the Gisatori, and just trying to cement this position. You see, you don't have a lot over here. Ended up bringing the infantry assault over again, and just trying to double down on this position. So nice play by Orange to stall the infantry assault. You know, I would have kept it in there until the last minute just to stall the timer. But yeah, putting a lot of, you know, the bishops are doing a lot of work, forcing the martyrs back. Got my guy out just in time. And he ended up wiping a squad with the bishop. This was a misplay. Luckily, my infantry assault was there, so he didn't get punished for this. So, you know, you can see the martyrs trying to hit him, but yeah, it was kind of a misclick. And it looks like so another thing on this map is you don't always have to pressure the top if you're on the bottom side from the left. You could focus in the middle and then slowly take these kind of extreme points, so that cutoff plus that munitions area if you win. And that's good enough. Like, you don't have to win all 3 sides. In fact, it's very difficult to win all 3 sides in this game just because of how spread out the map is. Like, you will get flanked. So, with that, it's just something to make sure, and especially, like, now the bombars are mid. That's something you gotta deal with. These are really hard to deal with without any sort of tanks. At this point, I thought it was going to be a wash, especially when they saw a real early Tiger, like 18-minute Tiger, kind of insane. He had Usatoris out, he had quite a few units, so pretty nuts how he had a Tiger this early. So that effectively, when we saw that, we're like, all right, we're going to focus a little more mid, and we're going to push top. We knew that they're going to have some emplacements top from the coastal, but we didn't want to lose all 3 sides. So it's important for us to at least keep 1 VP to stall the bleeding enough for us to get our units out. So yeah, I was on full retreat. It was like, that was a lot of manpower bleed. I didn't expect him to come down here. But yeah, he was really aggressive. So he kind of timed his push along with the Tiger and the 8 rad. So the thing is, the commandos were here, and the commandos are lethal. And again, the bombars have to face the direction the commandos are they're fighting, and commandos are extremely good against tanks from the US side. And he ended up killing both of them. He didn't, so the bombars didn't actually do anything. They were kind of scared he's going to end up meeting up with his army bottom and then going for it. Like, we evacuated. He didn't need to do that. We evacuated anyway, just because we didn't have anything to do with the Tiger at the time. And so, what's the point of engaging bleeding manpower, trying to fight it? Just let him have it, and then start building up your defenses behind us. You got an AT gun here, got my Hellcat. Bishops are here, but to help with the infantry, you got another AT gun, sort of, at the bottom. But a lot of these guys are spread thin. And so it looks like Yellow is really pushing the issue and putting down a lot of hurt. Commandos are tough to deal with, especially when they start getting veterancy points. They don't gain survivability. This is something that I did on when I played Gustatori, is I spread out my units. Like, you saw I was in some sort of a blob there, but I wanted to spread out my units so I don't get caught with all the Gustatori fire at once. And that's something, just kind of a nice trick that you can do. But yeah, now we're focused more on mid and bottom. Look at a retake bottom. And again, there's not a lot here. We ended up having this Tiger move over here, and now there's a 17 pounder just like ready to go. And so this is going to be tough for him to break. And unfortunately, there's a lot of like trees and shit here, so it's tough to actually aim the 17 pounder. But you know, every time you see a Tiger, get Archer 17 pounders if you got them, because those are the best counters with infantry in front. And it looks like, yeah, I sent infantry assault bottom just to contest, and it looks like, and he ends up engaging with the Tiger. And this is nice, you know. The Tiger is basically free experience. Those are two nice grenades, back to back, ended up stalling and dropping like already on top of it. So again, he was air and sea, so he can drop both different types of arties, and I think that was a fake flare. But we basically saw a half-health Tiger. It started pushing the issue. Like, again, I am very infantry heavy. You can see it on my map. I have 2 Hellcats that are both kind of protecting this position. But honestly, if I had myself get Hellcat earlier, I would have committed and killed the Tiger, but I didn't have any time. But yeah, you can see all the damage that was being done here. And Yellow just wrecking havoc. So everyone's going Hellcats, so expect more Tigers to come out. I'm just being as aggressive as I can, pulling back this group of units and just making sure that I'm applying damage. I know it's a little bit of a bleed, but because I'm with riflemen and not rangers, like, I don't mind bleeding a little bit. I have plenty of manpower to work with. I can get more Tigers, more Hellcats if I need to. But for the most part, we wanted to make sure that we were just keeping the pressure up. It's not a long way because I put a forward tent. Not in the ideal position. I had a hard time finding a place that the game allowed me to place these tents. I ideally want it like here, but it just didn't let me. So I just put it in the back somewhere just to have a forward retreat point. And again, a little different than how most people play this battle group, but in my opinion, this is an incredible way to play the battle group. And again, another bombard came in, but again, you got commandos and now you got Hellcats. That thing's not long for this world. And you're gonna see him switch from tank to rifles when he's engaging in these rifles, and the amount of experience he's getting from all this is just insane. And then green is starting to really push top. You see he went pretty infantry heavy too. He has an AT gun, well, a 17 pounder up here. He can easily push this top side if he wanted to, but he's just kind of keeping this position alive because he's focused a lot more on bottom. He ended up getting 2 17 pounder emplacements and ended up killing a martyr, and it looks like, yeah, that was just as important. And another thing important here, like, we didn't have vision of the map. We didn't know what was behind it. We didn't know where the Tiger was. So I didn't press with my Hellcats on these retreating units, just because, like, I need to build a force. It's more important to build a force than to be aggressive and potentially lose a Hellcat. we felt like, you know, even though we're bleeding and we have um, less victory points, it's kind of like chess. You may be losing currently on your board, but you're positioning yourself in a way that you're going to be winning the game. So, like, for example, Green has started positioning himself to start taking that VP top. We have a lot of units in terms of anti-tank for the Tiger. We have Grants, we have Hellcats, and we have already set up, and I have quite a few units that are veteran units against, like, basically Martyrs and 8-Rats. So we felt like it was a pretty good stage in the game. I kind of overshot this. I should have put it right on the point. We could have had the point. But yeah, we felt pretty good about stage of the game. I started pushing in, and then ended up taking out their med truck again. Just being able to take out units you cannot bring back, super important. And I got kind of distracted because I saw this coming in. Again, I'm not too worried about it. I don't have too much to deal with it right now. We ended up bringing a lot of our guys back, and yeah, yellow and green have really started to spread these guys out. See a lot of Panzer. So again, this guy's not playing Bunker City. He's just playing bunker coverage and went straight into Panzer 3s. And you know, we started taking middle. We felt like as long as we had middle and bot, we were in a pretty good shape in this game. But pressure top with whatever we can, just to make them commit less in middle, which is green shot. You know, you only do this when you feel like you have enough units to make a difference. Green kind of didn't have as many units here. He was getting split by 2 guys basically. But yeah, yellow's starting to come in, and yeah, these guys did not well. We ended up actually, I missed it, but we ended up killing the Tiger. So the Tiger ended up coming up here, and I put my Hellcats on the side to flank him plus his AT gun. So they ended up losing it. I also had my grenades on him, and it was kind of like that Tiger was dead, and we weren't worried about it. But this top side is where a lot of the action is coming. You see, yeah, the call-ins here, very powerful call-ins. Starting to see the 17-pounder take out the bunkers, and you know, you'll see me make a mistake here. I thought I retreated this as part of the group, but I didn't. You know, small mistake there, but you know, not being breaking. And you kept my mortar in the middle, so I can basically look to contest anything that's on the victory point. But yeah, yellow just came in with the commandos and just destroyed everything. Commandos are super strong, and he ended up splitting them up. So that was kind of the great equalizer right there. And look, and like, he got the tanks in, and they do just murder to the tanks. Ended up killed both of the Panzers. And again, something important you see a lot of players do is they kill the bodies of the Panzers basically, because they don't want a recovery vehicle coming in for cheap and recovering these. So you'll see it done every single time. So yeah, a little bit more of a stalemate. We ended up taking basically all 3 sides. We saw them overcommit on top, which means they could easily just take in top. And yeah, there's kind of a calm before the storm for the next engagement here. And another thing you can see is we did cache everything. So another benefit of playing with the RNC teammate is he caches a lot of these munitions. I had a few extra manpower, and I have an engineer to repair. So when they're not preparing, I try to cache a couple of things. You can see I'm floating like 500. I could definitely make another unit. We felt like, you know, this is an interesting thing. Like, you're always thinking, why do I need to make more units and get to 100 pop? Well, in this scenario, we ended up killing the Tiger, killing a lot of stuff. I wanted to cache more munitions so I could keep spamming infantry assault, because I'm at plus 46 right now. I want to be much higher. Even though, like, we have Aaron C to cache everything, you don't want to put all the burden on him if you have floating munitions. I didn't put any particular emplacements here. I didn't feel like we needed too many of them. I was more focused on munitions and building my army. And yeah, I just maybe pushed up a little bit. I didn't see this, which was, you know, kind of a shame. I ended up getting a 2-star rifleman killed, but you know, I got some information on where they were, and we ended up pressing the issue. Pushed my infantry assault all the way over here because I knew they were. We took the points. I knew they were back here somewhere, so just kind of putting it out there, and yeah. Ended up feeding these guys a little bit of experience, but nothing too crazy. Again, they're engaging infantry assault instead of, you know, engaging the point and also not being up here. So, you know, if anything, it was a distraction at worst. And this last guy ended up killing the med truck, so that made it all worth it to me in the end. But yeah, we have really good information now where they're at, what they have, and how to engage it next. And information is key in this game, and also distractions are very key. I mean, look at all the tanks that we have now. We're just kind of waiting for our moment. You can see Blue's trying to do a flank real quick and get some vision. And I think this is for, yeah, an arty call. Yeah, so this was for the landed seat arty. And we took this opportunity to really go in and kill it. So that single arty ended up killing the Westberg. And the thing is, though, you don't want to cross your own arty. But yeah, you can kill this bombard, which is out of position. And I ended up moving in on the opposite side with Hellcats. I didn't want to commit. I just wanted to kill the 8 rads if I could. Ended up also killing a martyr. They collapsed on the left side as well, so they're basically getting penciled in. Like, you guys see their vision.
We should spend our munitions at once.
Like, they had no vision. It was basically the entire army for them that they had at the time. So yeah, back and forth game, highly competitive. You can see a lot of people did a lot of damage. I typically do less damage in these games because I'm more in the support element. But yeah, it was incredibly fun game. There were some points where we were in trouble, but I think we kind of kept a cool head. If you understand what they have, they understand their comp and how to kind of push forward with the counter comp, like, you know, an AT gun versus a flak and an 8 rad, even though they have a martyr and AT gun themselves. If you're infantry heavy, you don't really have to worry about the martyr at that kind of bottom position engagement where we took back the area. So yeah, it was good. I'll post more of these as starting to get into these higher level games and give you all my thoughts on what we were thinking at the time, so you can see how strategically we were approaching the game. But yeah, it was a fun game, and thanks for watching.